Brigham Young University's brand identity is made up of a number of symbols, from the BYU monogram to the Sailor Cougar. For starters, the BYU logo shows how the school is helping to give the next generation strength and self-confidence. And because of what they learn at university, students become full-fledged members of society with strong principles and ideals. In the middle of 2019, the university started a big brand research project that includes interviews, focus groups, and a perception study, among other things. But in the meantime, let's go over what the logo represents, its evolution over the years, and all you should know about the logo. Before we continue, please click the button below to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, remember to click the notification bell to be the first to know whenever we upload a new video. Brigham Young University is a university in the state of Utah. It is also known colloquially as the Y. It was previously known as Brigham Young Academy. BYU is a private school that is supported by the LDS Church. It is run by the Church Educational System, which is part of the LDS Church. It is a doctoral university with good research results, and the Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities has approved it. The university gives bachelor's degrees in 179 different fields. It also gives master's and doctoral degrees in 26 and 62 programs, respectively. Furthermore, the university maintains branches in Salt Lake City and Jerusalem. The school also has a sports club named the Cougars, which participates in NCAA Division I. Brigham Young University, named after its founder, first appeared considerably before the formal date. It dates back to 1862 when patron Warren Dusenberry established a school at Clough Hall, one of Provo's brick buildings off the main streets. After that, the school moved closer to the center of the city and became a branch of the University of Deseret. However, financial constraints prevented him from working actively, and he closed. Brigham Young, the leader of the LDS Church, handed the institution to a board of trustees in the hope of revitalizing it in 1875. Brigham Young Academy opened its doors and began instructing pupils the next year. It was split into two separate but eponymous organizations in 1903, Brigham Young University and Brigham Young High School. To help the institution, the administration purchased several acres of land and began construction on the first academic building. It is now a large-scale construction project with numerous buildings, both educational and residential. Her identity is multifaceted, with various distinguishing features. The academic emblem is a variation on the official seal in that it uses the same features but in a different arrangement. BYU University's name is printed in a similar font. It is at the very top, separated by a tiny line. The entire name of Brigham Young University is listed below the abbreviation. The inscription is divided into two lines, the first two words are huge, while the third is little. The business color palette, dark blue on a white background, is also retained. The official seal of BYU is a spherical emblem. It is adorned in the style of a rondel and is divided into many portions by rings. There is an abbreviation in the center, smooth, bold, with thin serifs. Two little silver stripes outline the writing above and below. The word founded is written in capital letters above it. The year the university was founded is listed here, 1875. Then there are two narrow lines separated by a wide blue box containing text. There is information on the educational institution's full name and location. Text pieces are separated by little diamonds. Now, let's look at the evolution of the BYU logo. Brigham Young Cougars is a sports league with 21 teams that is part of Brigham Young University, which was founded in 1875. Swimming, volleyball, gymnastics, basketball, football, golf, and other sports are represented by 11 men and 10 women. The organization is headquartered in Provo, Utah. The Brigham Young University Sports Department logos all have one thing in common: writing. The first is an abbreviation, the second is a full and helpful piece, and the third is just a single letter. Furthermore, the symbols are classified into two conditional groups, with and without a puma. The university mascot is not used in the current logo because it would be too hard to draw. In 1969, the Cougars' inaugural logo featured a puma, The university's mascot. The Predator is made in contour, which means that the edges are made with a solid blue stripe and there are no other colors inside. This makes the Predator white. She sneaks up on the university's truncated name, carefully placing her paws. One leg is on B, two on Y, and one more produces a depression in U. The wildcat's head has fallen. The mouth is wide open. The lengthy tail is relaxed. The ears have been flattened. The letters also have contour outlines, but since they are filled in the middle, the bold lines are only on the outside, making a solid frame. The animal's picture is contoured. Symbols, on the other hand, have a double border and are fully colored. When it was redesigned in 1999, the Cougars' drawing style changed, and its features are now more realistic. The animal is pictured in the highlands as sharp triangles and multi-structured peaks. The wild beast's body is muscular and almost crushed to the ground, as if ready for an attack jump. An open mouth with sharp fangs, a frowning forehead, elevated ears, and a stare all indicate a willingness to charge at the enemy. Her gaze is fixed on a single location, and her ears are lifted. Behind the crawling moves, it is clear that there is a lot of power, endurance, strength, and will. The name of the sports team, Brigham Young University Cougars, is ungrouped into 3 lines below. Each section has its own font. Brigham Young has a high serif and a thin white line, while the Cougars have a wide, chopped line. In the present logo, which was designed in 2005, there are no mountains, Cougars, or even a name in the contemporary logo. It was given to the department following a redesign aimed at simplifying personal symbolism. It is legible on any medium and looks nice as a print on clothing or sporting equipment. The letter Y takes up the entire space of the blue oval. Because her massive prototype is built into a mountain near one of the campuses, she, too, serves as a mascot for the educational institution. This sign represents the name of the university's founder, Young. The top serifs are arranged to form a downward pointing arrow in negative space. By looking at the font and colors of the BYU logo, you can tell that its name is all about the university. The text can be found in sporting emblems, academic press, and the university's logo. Blue and white color schemes are very popular. They are enhanced with gold in some forms. According to university management, 3 types of typefaces are permitted in brand names: Requiem, Vitesse, and Ringside. It is used based on the function of the symbols. The main logo is a sharp, thin serif typeface, whereas the sports insignia is wide, flat, and filled with big serifs. The college palette is consistent. White and 2 hues of blue, base and dark, are used throughout. Let's also have a look at BYU's history. The Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, is a private research university also known by its initials, BYU, and the nickname the Y. Brigham Young, a religious leader, started it in 1875. The Latter-day Saint movement, LDS Church, backs it. At BYU, you can study things like liberal arts, engineering, agriculture, business, physical and mathematical sciences, nursing, and law, among other things. There are 186 majors for undergrads, 64 for graduates, and 26 for doctorates. On the main Provo campus, there are roughly 11 colleges or schools, with several having their own admissions requirements. The Church Educational System, CES, which is the parent group, also pays for sister schools in Hawaii and Idaho. The main campus is in Jerusalem. The Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities has granted accreditation to the school. Almost every student at BYU is a devout follower of the LDS faith. Students at BYU sign an honor code that requires them to act in ways consistent with Mormon teachings. These include being honest in their schoolwork, being kind to faculty and staff, being clean and well-groomed, not having sexual relationships outside of marriage, not dating people of the same gender, and not using illegal drugs. No matter what their major is, all undergraduates must complete the LDS Church's religious education requirements. Nearly half of BYU students have lived outside the United States, and 65% speak a second language. This is likely at least in part due to the Church's emphasis on missionary service. The institution also frequently offers classes in 63 different languages. The BYU Cougars are the umbrella brand for all of the university's varsity sports programs that compete at the Division I level of the NCAA. Their football team competes in the Division I Independent Football Championship, while the rest of their sports teams are members of the West Coast Conference or the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. 12 NCAA championships and 26 more titles were won by BYU sports teams that were not NCAA affiliated. In the 2023-24 school year, BYU will be a full member of the Big 12 Conference. On September 10, 2021, they accepted an invitation to join. In 1862, Warren Dusenberry opened a school in Provo's Clough Hall, a famous adobe building at the northeast corner of 200 East and 200 North. This was the start of Brigham Young University. After the school ran into money problems, it was moved to the Kinsey and Lewis buildings on Center Street in Provo. These buildings were praised for their quality, and the school became the Timpanogos campus of the University of Deseret. Brigham Young hinted in 1867 that a school would be built near Draper, Utah. On October 16, 1875, when money problems forced a second closure, he gave the land to trustees. This time, the school would remain open and become Brigham Young Academy. Therefore, many people consider October 16, 1875, to be the date that BYU first opened its doors. It had been a long-held dream of Young's to build a university dedicated to the Christian faith. Young said, "I want to see an academy built in Provo so that the children of Latter-day Saints can get a good education without the harmful atheistic influences that are found in so many of the country's high schools." In the year 1876, on January 3, students first enrolled at Brigham Young Academy. Before Brigham Young's preferred candidate, a German immigrant named Karl Meiser, arrived in April 1876, Dusenberry oversaw the school for a while. Meiser was in charge of the school when many famous people, like future Supreme Court Justice George Sutherland and Senator Reed Smoot, went there. University status was not granted until after Benjamin Clough's presidency ended. Before the church officially took over the school and paid for it on July 18, 1896, it was privately funded by people in the community. Clough was fired as president of the academy after a series of strange management mistakes, but before he left, he suggested that the school be renamed Brigham Young University. Even though a lot of board members said they didn't agree with the idea, and some said the school was too small to be called a university, the motion was finally passed. Anthony H. Lund, an outspoken critic of the decision, was quoted as saying, "I hope their head will grow big enough for their hat." When Brigham Young Academy closed in 1903, it was succeeded by Brigham Young High School, BY, and Brigham Young University, BYU. The Brigham Young High School class of 1907 left their mark on the world by carving a massive Y into the side of a mountain not far from campus. George H. Brimhall was chosen as the new president of BYU by the Board of Trustees. At age 40, he finally finished high school. Not only that, but he could get things done and put on a show. As president, he worked with the city of Provo to buy 17 acres, 69,000 square meters, of land for the young BYU in 1904. Even though some people in the area didn't want BYU to buy the land, the Carl G. Meiser Memorial was built as the first building on the current campus in 1909. The notion of evolution caused a temporary problem during Brimhall's presidency at BYU. It seemed at the time that the religious character of the school was at odds with this scientific premise. For the time being, the issue was put to rest when church president Joseph F. Smith requested that evolution not be taught in church-run schools. A middle ground between evolution's scientific facts and the church's dogma was found by students and teachers throughout time. Although some critics at the time labeled the institution as little more than a religious seminary, many of its students and alums went on to achieve tremendous success and became well known in a wide range of areas.